Is there ever?
No.
No.
No, you can't have that much.
Okay. Well, anyway, here we are back again.
Back again for round, what is this, 4 of
Well, I don't know. I
the
mean,
Bourbon Lines?
Bourbon Lines, and I was thinking, there's a couple other ones we should probably throw in, and we should bring out your favorite into the mix,
Wild
maybe
Turkey.
next time.
Yeah.
But anyway, for those of you tuning in today,
Four Roses.
Four Roses. Well, today we're doing Woodford Reserve, and we decided, partly because a fan and viewer suggested, hey, why don't you guys do some Jack Daniels? And it got us thinking, why don't we do Jack Daniels? Why don't we do Maker's Mark? Why don't we do Old Forester? Why don't we do Woodford?
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking, let's do Wild Turkey and Four Roses. So anyway, there's probably going to be more to come. But today, it's all Woodford Reserve.
It's all Woodford, yeah.
And
which is a great line.
It is. And their distillery is amazing.
That's what
The grounds are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Anyway, another Brown Foreman. I guess Brown Foremans, they don't have the market cornered, but they have a pretty good slice of that pie.
They have a good pie. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So first one we're going to dive into today. Yeah, this is, you don't have to adjust your screen. This is a large bottle, which, some of these you can find. And this is classic standard Woodford Reserve.
Yeah.
This is the 1.75, so I guess that makes it a handle. But this is 90.4 proof, their standard offering.
Yeah.
And, it's in that budget category for sure. Even probably this large one still fits in that budget category.
Say, you're probably getting that for $60.
If that.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe cheaper.
Yeah. The nose on this Woodford Reserve, their base stuff, it is standard bourbon. And whether I'm out having dinner or I'm out at a friend's house, I will always go to Woodford as just, because everybody seems to have Woodford.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's such a great offering. They've done such a great job marketing the whole 9 yards of this.
I think maybe I'm wrong, but I think it is the official bourbon of the Kentucky Derby, which is coming up here real soon too. Yeah. So, but I think with this one, like, what am I getting here? I'm getting classic, a little bit of that corn, the brown sugar, maybe a little bit of caramel-ish on the nose, or toffee, sort of. Some baking spices are coming through. This is a really good nose.
It really is.
Really good nose. A lot more depth than a lot of budget bourbons, I think.
I agree.
And it's got the right level of sweetness.
It does. I mean, it's perfectly balanced bourbon.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your spices, from your baking spices to your sweetness. So you have your corn and your cinnamon, and your oak, and it all marries together really well.
Yeah, it's because you've got a little bit of sweet, a little bit of spice. You get enough heat from the proof coming through. But like Jamie said, it's just very cohesive, very balanced. It's just a really, really good drink.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with this. And it's whether you mix it with something, but you don't have to mix it. This is an excellent neat, or on the rocks. I mean, it's
got good depth.
And every place is going to have this when you go out.
Yes, they are.
If you want it with your dinner, or you want to just buy a bottle somewhere, everybody's going to have this.
Everybody's going to have it. All right, number 2, what we got? We got the
double oaked. So this is a step up. This is your base, and they've oaked it a second time, and I'm not positive how long they've oaked it.
I don't know that they even say, but we're the same proof point, right? So 90.4. Yeah.
Yep.
So
finished in a second oak barrel.
Yeah, I don't know if they say, but my understanding, my belief is that what's in here as far as the mash bill and the bourbon, same as the classic stuff, it's just been oaked a second time.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know for how long. Maybe you do, and if you do, send us a note, let us know, share it with others.
So to me, and I'm getting it now. So the baking spices, to me, you're looking at an apple pie that's coming out of the oven. And I don't know if which is a little deeper than your standard offering.
Yeah.
And I love that. But this is
it's got more of a fruit.
It has more of a fruit to it that is just reminds me of your grandmother's kitchen when she's baking apple pies to me. And so in this is, I would say, slightly more expensive than
yeah, but not crazy.
Not crazy. And that's
it's not. It's hit or miss to me as far as finding it.
Yeah.
It's not allocated by any stretch.
No.
Generally, you can find it, but not always. I don't know if there's a season to this per se, but it doesn't seem to be around all the time.
Mm-mm. No, I agree.
The other thing I get in addition to your, I do get the oak. I like to cut wood. Mm-hmm. I know it's a weird thing to do, but get the chainsaw out, cut wood. There's something about cutting wood. There is that smell, that sawdust smell when you're cutting a hardwood. You're getting some of that, and it's just right there on the nose. All right. This is amazing.
It's unbelievable. It's smooth. It has cinnamon that comes through. The baking spices come through.
But you get that sawdust.
You do. I mean, it all comes through. It's
and I think I think there's a lot of bourbons out there these days, or distilleries that are doing things, or I don't want to say tricks because I don't mean it in a negative way, but tricks with their, like, how they oak it and how they finish it and that sort of thing. I don't know if Woodford's is the original on things like this, but this is certainly the gold standard.
This is gold standard.
Something like that.
And anybody you talk to about double oaked anything, they're going to go back to Woodford Reserve. Yeah. Well, it doesn't match up to this or that, or if they're telling you it beats double oak Woodford Reserve, you probably should grab a bottle and just because it's going to be outstanding. But this is unbelievable.
And again, pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty reasonable price. All right, so
reasonable pricing. We're going to this.
This one's not reasonably priced. It wasn't. I think it was 150-ish, give or take, maybe not so much. But when we visited the distillery, I think it was last summer, maybe. This was at the time distillery only, and it was limit one per person. So I told my wife, I'm like, "You're buying one, and I'm buying one." And I will say that first bottle. No, I didn't. I went through it pretty quick.
Did it make it home?
It made it home.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the second bottle. So, and I think they come out with these every year, but this is the Masters Collection. This batch proof. We're 124.7. And again, I think they come out with these every year. I think eventually some quantity of those do find their way into store shelves. Yeah. And I don't keep up with the bourbon release calendar. I think there are places like breakingbourbon.com and a few other places that actually publish when people are coming out with different things. So if you're so inclined, do that. But, I think we were there in the summer for what it's worth.
Yeah, I was going to say it's more of a summer fall.
I think so. But, make a trip down to the bourbon country, go visit Woodford. Maybe they'll have it there. But anyway, I picked this up, I think 2 summers ago. I mean, it's very similar on the nose.
Very similar to double oak.
Very similar.
It really is. It's just at a much higher proof.
Yeah. I mean, we're jumping up a lot because we're going from 90-something. What were we at?
90.4 to 124.7.
That's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, 124.7. That's a decent jump. Yeah.
But the nose is initially very similar.
Very similar.
And I think it resembles more the double oak than the standard offering.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't believe is finished in
anything else.
I think it's just barrel proof stuff here. So. It's like, for me, medicinal cherry.
Yes. And there, it's hotter. The proof comes through.
Oh, yeah, it's there.
The proof comes through. The cherry comes through, but you're right. It's more of that medicinal Ludens type of a cherry that comes through. It's good. Now, some people will struggle to sip on this.
Yeah. You're gonna have to walk into it slowly.
This is your sipper.
Yeah.
This one, you're gonna, to John's point, you're gonna have to kind of walk into this a little bit. And it would probably be best if this wasn't your first drink of the evening. kind of open yourself
ease into
up.
it.
Yeah, ease into it.
I mean, pour yourself one of these first, and then maybe that's the next one. And what personally I like to do with something at this proof point is I'll pour just a little bit in a glass.
Yep.
And I will nurse that over the course of maybe an hour. Just slow sipping, tiny bits. And it's like each time I take a little bit of a sip, it's like I get more depth and complexity and that sort of thing. And it's a little bit of letting it breathe, I think, too, right?
Yeah, and this, to me, is a perfect Glencairn glass drink. I mean, if you're you shouldn't pour this in a rocks glass right out of the gate.
Right, because all the good stuff's going to just like...
It's going to go on you.
I mean, theoretically, that Glencairn keeps it kind of like some of the aroma trapped inside.
Yes.
Because the nose is some of the fun part of it, but it's almost like it just keeps pushing those aromas back down into the glass. But
yeah,
it's good.
It's a really good drink.
Drink with caution,
especially for the experienced bourbon drinker.
Yeah.
This is a great. If you can get a pour of this, get a pour of this.
Yeah.
If you can get a bottle and you can afford that, add it to your collection.
Yeah, it's a little bit more pricey for sure.
But it's a great drink. But ease into it.
Yeah, drink with caution.
Don't pour you a 3-fingered glass and drink right out of the gate.
Yeah, not a shooter. All right, what we got here?
Well, here we have the Woodford Rye, which is at 90.4, but it's just their straight rye whiskey, which is different. We've had bourbons, now we're kind of diving into the rye.
I'm sure I've had this before.
And it has a great nose.
Rye spice.
Spice
is there.
It's interesting because it's like a rye spice that's mixed with the Woodford mash bill.
I would even say like some black pepper.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's what's jumping out for me the most. Yeah. That's a. I know a lot of people are, maybe I've heard they're a little hesitant to jump into the ryes, but that's a bourbon drinker's rye right there.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
Because if I didn't know it was rye, I would probably think it was a bourbon.
You'd think it was, a little spicier bourbon is all that really was.
Yeah, but what I like about this compared to the standard Woodford bourbon, for me, it's not as sweet. And I'm not saying this is overly sweet, but again, everybody's palate's a little bit different. If you're into whiskey, you know what you like and that sort of thing. For me, I like that it's not as sweet.
It's not sweet. No, I agree. It's not. You're drinking a Woodford product, but it has enough rye spices that it kind of pulls the sweetness away from you, and you're drinking. I want to say you're drinking a rye, but you might not. You may not know that. Might not. It's a non-sweet bourbonish rye. We'll just say that.
And I think if you're like rye curious, this will be a good one to sort of explore and get into it a little bit because again, you're going to feel like it's a small step into bourbon. Now there are plenty of ryes, and I could probably grab at least a handful.
Yeah.
Where if you're not a rye fan, you're not going to like
drink them. Yeah.
But this one, if you're not a rye fan and you like bourbon, you'll like this.
You'll like this, and it's readily available.
Yeah.
The cost point is not any more than your standard.
I mean, generally ryes are a little bit more, but not maybe a few bucks more, but it's more or less in that same ballpark.
I agree. And so this is a really good rye offering.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking to kind of understand, do I like rye? Is there pieces of rye I would like? I don't like. Try the Woodford Rye.
Yeah. What I like every so often I love a good old fashioned.
Yeah.
Right. It's classic whiskey cocktail, but I generally like to get mine with rye whiskey instead of, because I like a little bit of that spice in there. Yeah. And this will be wonderful in a old fashioned because it's going to pair well with that simple syrup, and depending on how you make your old fashioned, but that cherry, because I talked a lot about cherry popping out in this one, right? And I think there's some of those similarities that will come out in that drink.
Oh yeah, I agree. We need to go to to Haberdasher in Franklin.
We should do that
because they make some really good old fashions, and they use rye, and they'll use a barrel gin, and they'll use 2 or 3 things that we can get in other episodes and stuff. But I think you would really like those.
All right, you're gonna have to work on setting that up.
I will work on setting that up.
Because I'd love to go, especially those folks that this is for us, Jamie and I. It's a local distillery, and they're working hard at their craft and doing some pretty cool things. So we'd love to go on site and do that. So hopefully we'll have that coming for you sometime this summer, maybe. So,
that's right.
All right. Anyway, y'all, thank you. We're so grateful for y'all to tune in. Of course, it's painless for you to click that little like button.
Yeah, it helps us out a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't done so already, take a moment to click that subscribe button.
Yeah.
My mom was asking me, how do I subscribe the other day? I'm like, Mom, it's easy.
Just
click the button. I know, right?
Yeah.
Her and my dad are watching YouTube a lot. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. But click that little subscribe button. And then if you click the little bell icon, you'll get notified when we come out with new stuff. But I'll just give you a little heads up. We're going to try to put out 2-ish videos or so per week. And if you haven't seen the stuff we've done already, go back.
Go find it.
We're north of 60-some videos at this point in the new Mojo Whiskey Bar. Our team, I guess we've only been in this new Mojo Whiskey Bar recently, but anyway, thank you all.
If you got ideas of what we should be doing, throw them our direction.
We're not afraid to try any whiskey.
Yeah.
I had Japanese whiskey the other day. We can talk about that later.
All right.
I don't know. More to come. Thank you all.
Thank you.
See you soon.